So those are our aerial shots from our drones live in Pretoria. Dumelang, Sabonani. A bit of a shaky start there. Yep. A very warm welcome to Expressions. This is a very special episode where we are going to be tackling the burning issue of gender-based violence head on. Now, more than anything else, we are going to be giving you an exclusive where you get to engage with the Deputy Minister of Police, Kasil Matale, as well as his General, Kehla Sithole, and we're going to find out what are they doing to ensure that they tackle and curb this issue of gender-based violence. I am Jacqueline Mapala, your host.
And I'm your host, coming to you live from the Police Academy in Pretoria. Mtswane is what I'm talking about today as we tackle this very burning topic with Jackie. As we ask the big question today, is government failing to tackle the issue of gender-based violence in the country? Now, we live on SABC 1 as well as the SABC News channel, DSTV channel 404. Do interact with us on our social media platforms as well as call us on 078-799-4480. Let's have this frank conversation, Jack.
Yes, indeed. And we definitely have to have this very frank conversation because we know that this issue, the scourge of gender-based violence, is not only a serious problem in our community, but most importantly, it is really affecting a lot of young people. I mean, we've heard as well in the news headlines, we've heard of Tsegofatsopule, and just now recently we've also heard of Asitandile Zozo, who is a VIT student who unfortunately was murdered in the Eastern Cape. Now, there's so many cases like this in policy, and I think what is very important for us as young people is to remember that our voices count, and as young people we need to rise up, and as young people we're also saying enough is enough. But before we get into this very important conversation that we're having today, we are going to show you a very important insert that was prepared by our producer Umzianda Mbenda. Take a look at this.
Expressions caught up with Usis Sponso, where she told us of her story of how she suffered abuse of her then lover that left her with third-degree burns. Fast forward to 2020, her perpetrator is yet to get his day in court. Let's go and meet her. What has changed or what has remained the same since we last spoke to you?
Since the last we have spoken, the case is now in court and it's on trial. But it's been postponed. It's almost 2 to 3 years now. We are receiving different postponements. And now even the COVID now has put more impact on it.
What feedback are you getting?
Right now, it's a dead still. There is no feedback unless if I go and find out about it. I even went and opened a second statement of intimidation, harassment, and threats. But today there's still no arrest on the second one or the revoke of the bail or warning conditions. The guy is still out there, so that tells me that the problem is the system.
Tell us what actually happened.
In 2014, it was on Monday. I was preparing for work. Then there came my husband, and all of a sudden just took a bottle, poured an acid on me. I went to hospital. Later on in May, I opened a case, and since then the case has been closed, opened, reopened.
Why was the case closed in the first place?
I was told that I'm the one who went and closed the case.
Did you?
On my request of the statement of withdrawing the case, that's when it was reopened without even consultation to why now.
You didn't go and close the case?
I didn't, because I was hospitalized for almost a year. So how can I have done that?
Do you feel like the justice system has let you down?
Big time. One thing that I can tell you, this pandemic has shown me how affected I really am. Firstly, I can't wear a mask properly. I have to wear a specially made, the one that I cannot even afford. So I have to use the one that I can afford and adjust it so that I can even put it because of my right ear. So it shows me that our justice system is very, very, very vague. Our laws are very intact, but those who should be doing the implementation are the ones that are failing us.
An extremely powerful insert that was prepared by our producer Umziandam Mbendla, obviously showing really a hero and a victim and somebody who's survived a gender-based violence as a young person. But I think for us to be able to unpack this issue a little bit more, let me introduce officially my guests. A very warm welcome to Expressions, Deputy Minister Kasel Matale, as well as our General Uketla Sitole. Welcome to Expressions. And of course, now we have to obviously acknowledge our studio audience. Mkolisi, can you say hello to our makeshift audience for today?
Well, thank you very much for that, Jackie. Thank you so much for joining us, audience, for this evening. We're hoping that we're going to have a very constructive conversation around gender-based violence. Welcome to the show. Once again, please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. Right, Jackie?
Absolutely.
We're good to get this conversation started.
Let's get this conversation started. I think, Deputy Minister, I think let's get straight into it. How do we restore trust? I mean, we are seeing the stories where young women, young men in this country are affected by gender-based violence. We want to find out from you, as the Department of Police, what are you doing to restore trust within your department?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. The department has done quite extensively in terms of the fight against the scourge of gender-based violence. And in our response to that, we have put mechanism through the unit we call FCS, which is Family and Children Protection Services Against Violence. And this unit has done quite a lot in terms of apprehending perpetrators of gender-based violence. And I think that they are one of the most successful units that we have within the South African police that is doing extremely well. But the success in our fight against gender-based violence is not a success that is going to be determined by the role that the South African police is playing. It's a societal responsibility. As a country, we need to come together to respond to this scourge. South Africa is regarded as the fourth in the world highest violent society. And this is not surprising given the history of this country, that over the past 300 years you have had a conflict which was resolved with the negotiations of 1994 when we ushered in a democratic dispensation. So what you see today is a product of who we are as a country and the violent nature that produced the society that you see, which we need to engage in a program to re-educate our people, to educate the boy child to understand that there is no difference between him and the girl child, because our socialization, we are socialized in such a manner that boys see themselves different from women, including the tasks that they perform at home. There are things that are generally put aside to be domain for women, and those that can be done by boys. And this shape our outlook going forward. So we need a lot of education amongst our communities to deal with this.
So education definitely is the key, and of course I'm going to be bringing into this conversation our National Commissioner, General Sitole, as well, just to really find out specifically what the practicalities that are being implemented by the Department of Police to make sure that they curb the issue of gender-based violence. You are watching Expressions. We'll be back right after this.
Ake, siphinde sinibingelela sinamukele. You still with You still with the Expressions, and this is your #1 youth current affairs show. Still on the big pressing question, we are asking, is government failing to tackle the issue of gender-based violence? You welcome to interact with us in Nkundleni Zethu Zokuxhumana. We are also taking your calls namhlanje on 078 799 4480. Now, this is Expressions. So, as your #1 youth current affairs show, we also took to the streets to find out, what do young people have to say generally about the level of crime as well as gender-based violence in the country. Have a look at this insert.
Minister, benginombuzo for wena ukuthi thina njengama-sex workers sibone ngathi asithathelwa engqondweni ngoba siyareyishwa, siyangenelwa ezindlini, sivula amacala khona aphelele obala.
Minister, we have so many cases of gender-based violence, and what is common about those cases? Number one, why the investigating officers do not communicate with families of the victims?
Minister, ke na le bothata, ke rapilwe, ka kidnapiwa, and then ebe ke bethiwa ke ex-boyfriend. So ebe ke mo tshwarisa a tswa ka bail, and then after ho kry-a bail ebe a nthreathena mo strateng ka sethunya. So and ke ngwana sekolo, ke batla itse hore hona byanong e tshwantse ke phile byang.
And secondly, the issue of protection order. Why the perpetrators are not arrested when they violate the protection order?
What is it that the ministers actually put in place to bring transparency to all these cases that of which us as citizens do not know about, but ensuring that these cases actually reach the justice system?
Are there any measures that the government has put in place to ensure that not only some, but all men who do these gruesome acts are convicted? And if they are, what are those? I think it's about time that justice is served for Tsogofatso Pule, Kwasa Lukala, Uyinene Mkhwetjana, and all the women who have died in the hands of men.
Well, great insights there coming from the people. Of course, these are all our viewers who have tough questions. We perhaps will be going back to Jackie and the panelists just to digest these questions a bit. But before we go there, let's just quickly get some insight from the audience as well with Jackie. Sisponso, I think I need to bring you into this conversation. Now, we saw your, heart-rendering insert just a few minutes when we went on air. Siswami, we know what happened to you. We understand and we sympathize with you right now. What's happened with your case thus far till where we are now?
Good evening, everybody. In short, I was banned by my husband in 2014 in April, and the case is still on trial to date. The case has been closed, and then after the intervention of the March of 2018, from the total shutdown, it was reopened without reasons. I still don't know why it was closed down even before. Fast forward to date, the case has always been on postponement. There is still no progress on the case. My worry on that, I even went and opened another case on top of the case, because now the perpetrator is still victimizing me, harassing me. And I was told that there would be a revoke of a warning that he was granted. But to date, from April to now, I think it's about 3 to 4 months, he's still out. So I'm very much worried about our justice system and the way police are handling our cases. From where you start to go and report the case up until it ends up in court. One of the questions that I would like the minister to clarify for me
Commissioner,
is that,
perhaps?
Yes. On an issue of a Schedule 5 case, an attempted murder case, do the police have the jurisdiction to give a bail or a warning to a perpetrator before even he could appear in court? Do they have those powers? And what grants the police, the investigating officer, to send the forensics at the crime scene in order to gather all the evidence, even if you request? But I can say even today, that hasn't happened, and the very same evidence is no longer there. What grants the forensics to be sent to a crime scene in order to get if that didn't happen, what is the minister going to do about that in case of accountability? Because I feel that my case is being handled vaguely so. There are lots of holes that I need answers on. But right now I cannot go in details because the matter is still on trial, especially in live TV. So there are a whole lot of questions that I would like to ask the minister or whoever who can be able to give me answers as to what needs to be done on my case. Is the case of a survivor not as much important as somebody who has died? Maybe my case was going to be handled better if I have died in that incident. But now because I have survived, then it's not that matter of importance or agency. That's what I would like to know. They're going to wait for me, for the victim, to be murdered again, because that harassment, it will lead there. I scare for my kids especially.
Okay.
Right now the schools are open.
Yes.
I don't know if my child is back at home.
All right, Siswam. Let's just quickly take this too. But first, before we go to the commissioner, are you okay emotionally?
Right now, I feel that I don't have time to mourn myself because I have to get justice. There will be time where I have to break down. Right now, I cannot afford to break down because me breaking down, that will mean that I failed myself. I need to protect myself and be strong. But what I can tell you is that I'm not really, because I always think, especially for my kids, because I see what's happening outside with kids in cases like this.
Okay. It's a sponsor there, of course. Perhaps we can take this to our National Police Commissioner, Baba Uketla Stole. Perhaps you can take that, Baba. We've heard about accountability as well. Please, sir, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. And let me acknowledge, firstly, and also appreciate my sister for coming forward, and also for your bravery. I think you're my hero. On the first question, there are circumstances only under which police can grant bail, and is clearly outlined in the law, but there are circumstances which they can't, and that can only be granted by court. If that has happened, then it means it's a violation of the law by the police. And once it has so happened, they are not an exception, then it means they will need to also account, which can include them being charged. And as you have explained the matter, in actual fact, before you came here, I have instructed that your case be elevated to the highest authority for monitoring. And that is also going to include the second case that you have related on. Your case shall be monitored at the level of the Deputy National Commissioner and as well as the Divisional Commissioner. And the Divisional Commissioner is here, is Lieutenant General Musikidi. And there will be an internal investigation in terms of the allegations that you have made. And there will be a report that will be submitted to me. And where things did not or were not done correctly, action would be taken. But the report that I have now and the latest instruction that I have given, I said, let's work together with NPA, let's work together with yourself, and let's work together with justice. I have confirmation now that your case is in motion, and I'm going to be monitoring it constantly so that I get progress report. I am just asking you to continue, persevere, and work together with us. And we're going to give you the highest priority and the highest level of respect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Police Commissioner. And Sisponza's expressions will be taking a very keen eye in your case as well. Mbukeli nawe lapha ekhaya, if you're in a position like Sisponza, remember the South African Police Service also have their complaints line. Maungabe une complain with regards to the way your case has been handled, or any complaints or suggestions you should have for the South African Police Services. We'll be publishing the numbers on the screen shortly. This is your #1 Youth Current Affairs show, Expressions. We back after this.
Well, Welcome back. You are watching Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show here in South Africa. And today we're talking about a burning issue. We're talking about gender-based violence. And for the first time ever, you get an opportunity to engage with the Deputy Minister, Kasil Matalis. So make sure that you keep those comments coming in on Facebook. Now, of course, we need to wrap this conversation up for this particular segment. Minister, Deputy Minister, we heard the case Yaponzo, and not only is it heartbreaking, but it's still showing that there are too many gaps, too many flaws, and I guess maybe we can say the Department of Police is failing women in this country. I just want to find out from you, what can be done to ensure that we don't have cases like hers? I mean, it was heartbreaking to hear her say that, she has to wait until she dies before somebody takes it seriously. Why do we have to get to that point?
Thank you very much. We don't have to reach that point. As it says, South African Police Service, this is a service to the public. And Ponto is part of that public. We are not doing her a favor. Constitutionally, we are given a mandate to serve the public, to ensure our people feel safe and are safe, and they can come to the police service, get the necessary service they are supposed to get without any expectation from like a person like Ponto. She must report a case and be confident that it will be resolved. But we want to commit here today with the National Commissioner and the leadership of the South African Police that is here, that we will take keen interest not only on Ponto's case, but all cases that have been reported to the South African Police. And if there are instances where people are aggrieved, like the presenter said, they will flight the complaints line of the South African Police. Our people must do so. But in the case of Ponto, it's different because amongst us here, we have Lieutenant General Musikili, who is here, who is responsible for monitoring the case. Yeah. She must get in touch with Ponto so that whenever there is a problem, Ponto can pick up a phone and call him.
And the part that is really heartbreaking about this, and I think this is why it's important to have shows like this and to have a platform such as Expressions, because it's not possible for our show to have all the bonzos who have these kinds of issues. And I think I just want to find out from you, National Commissioner, how do we make sure that the bonzos of this world, the bonzos of South Africa, don't have to come on Expressions, that they are properly serviced by the police? I mean, the Deputy Minister mentioned the fact that it's a police service. How do we make sure we service young people, especially young women in this country, so that we create safer spaces for them?
Thank you very much. I think firstly, we as the South African Police Service must reach out to them so that we are proactive. And for us to reach out to young people, we've introduced the Youth Crime Prevention Framework, which is the operationalization of developmental crime prevention. Yeah. So it's national, where young people are taking charge and they are working together with the police to provide a response to the scourge of crime. This particular strategy is also extended to online, because we know young people have relocated by majority online. Then we've got a community policing strategy where we are going out to the communities. Yeah. And we make sure that we work together with them and we prevent this.
So without even cutting you, I mean, we have to say goodbye to our SABC 1 viewers. I mean, we are going to obviously continue with this conversation because it is a burning issue in this country. Gender-based violence is an issue that not only affects young people, but it affects South Africans all board. So for you, Gochaye, SABC 1 viewer, SABC 1 Expressions viewer, thank you so much for watching us. But make sure you continue with us on channel 404 after this. But thank you so very much for watching. From Expressions, we say goodbye. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
And welcome back. You're still with Expressions, and this is your #1 youth current affairs show. Now, this is the second part of today's discussion on gender-based violence as we ask the big question, is government failing to tackle the burning topic of gender-based violence? Still coming to you live from the Police Academy in Tshwane. And of course, you can interact with us on our social media platforms. You can also give us a call on 078-799-4480. I've got some comments from our audience this evening. But Dwami, perhaps you can also tell us what your view is on this topic.
Thank you very much. My name is Lungelo Zulu. I'm from Youth Crime Prevention. I believe that the point I wanted to make has already been touched by the Deputy Minister, which says that all cases must be treated as VIP cases. Now, the task for us as young people within our station areas where we know there are structures like the youth desk, the Youth Crime Prevention desk, is for us to go near these stations and ensure that whenever there are such cases, we must be advocates for ensuring that they are very important cases. We mustn't wait for a case to come to national TV before it's treated as an important case. So it's our task as young people to be mobilizing within our communities to make sure that we highlight the importance of these cases.
All right.
That's the key point.
Every case must be treated with urgency.
Yes.
My sister, I'm going to go up there to you as well. You have another comment to add around treatment in our police stations. Is that correct?
Yes. My name is Chifwa Mukobedi, and I have a burning issue. I dress like this today on purpose because if I get out of there and I'm raped and I report to the police station that I was raped, the first thing the police officer will tell me is that how I'll see or the male officers will say, oh, they will not address the matter of me being raped. And we see that young women are being secondarily victimized by the police officers themselves. Now, that's why you see that the report rate of rape or gender-based violence, it's so low because as a young woman, you feel that if I go to the police station, I will be victimized. I'll be made to feel like I am a less human being. And I feel like the attitude of the police officers, it really must change towards young people and the way you look at us and the way you talk to us. And there should be immediate counseling for people who have faced gender-based violence. Because I have friends who've had certain situations, go to the police station and they tell them just the way they are. They're like, okay, go home, we will investigate it. They don't tell them about counseling or anything, even to an extent that baba pota. But when nonahanang got this time utamaya or wapering or all of those things, is it really necessary for us to even scar women who've been through such trauma, who've been traumatized by this? Thank you very much for the opportunity.
The seed of misguided patriarchy in our police stations. Jackie, I think we must also tackle this in terms of how our police officers trained to deal with such cases when they come to their attention. My brother, I'm going to also ask you to quickly just step down so we also get your comments. Quick one, please, on that microphone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Tsepo. I'm from the Black Lawyers Association Student Chapter in Gauteng. So my question to General and Deputy Minister is that when will the police refrain from acting as family therapists and mediators when they have to effect an arrest? Why am I saying that is that we cannot allow a situation whereby a female victim come to the police station to raise an issue to say, I'm being brutalized by my husband or my boyfriend whatsoever. And then because they know the victim, the perpetrator, they tell the victim to say, go home and solve the issue. That cannot be allowed because on its own, it jeopardizes the safety of the victim. There's been cases, especially when I was coming here, someone told me that in Zanin something like that happened, and later on, the husband shot and killed himself, also shot and killed the wife as well.
Whoa. Perhaps we can, from the SABC as well, can we engage you as well? Perhaps, okay, maybe we can also bring you in from SABC as well. What are we doing to ensure that our police are fully trained to deal with such instances? I mean, a brother there is saying, you know, it's high time we have police who are able to take criminals to task. What are we doing to ensure that police are sufficiently trained?
Thank you. The police are doing a lot of work to make sure that we train and empower police officers. We look on the issues on the proactive matters. how do you deal with the prevention part for the gender-based violence. We should look on the issues on the addressing on the issues on the vulnerable groups, the domestic violence, the Child Acts, all those. It empowers the people, even the human rights in policing. We also provide, as one of the complainants was an issue about saying, how are they treated when they come there? We train the police not to be judgmental, not to be counselors. So the program is so intense in terms of the prevention when you talk about the victim empowerment. And you've got also the reactive part in terms of training. When you talk about the reactive part of it, we talk about the resolving of crime. The crime is already happened. How then you deal in terms of the investigation? How do you empower your victim in terms of giving evidence when it's needed? All those things is there in terms of the resolving of crime. To be specific, when you look now to the family violence, we've got a very intense program where we're now training those that will be dealing with the victims in terms of the gender-based violence, especially when you look at to the children as well as the family-related matters. And on top of that, when you look on the issue of the reactive, we look especially on the sexual offenses investigators, those investigators that investigate on the matters related to sexual offenses.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Perhaps, Jackie, there's a Percy on the line. I'm going to hand over straight to you.
Yeah, there's a Percy on the line from Attridgeville. Percy, please go ahead. What is your question?
My son was a policeman in Mpumalanga, and he was married on the 2nd of August in 2015. At the memorial, they said that they've handed over the docket to organized crime. And then I asked them to brief me with any findings or whatsoever. Up until now, I'm still waiting for that. And I even went to the extent of going to the police station on the 5th of November 2018. I said there was a certain general gave the version of events before the murder, and he appointed somebody to take over the case. Can I give you the case number? And I'm still waiting until now, and it's me on a daily basis. And my son served the SAPS for 22 years. And then I'm still reeling and grieving on his birthday. Up until now, I have no closure. I want justice of what has happened. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Percy. Either one, Deputy Minister or a National Commissioner, please answer this question around justice. You know, this is a father who needs justice. How do we give him justice?
Yeah, thank you very much. Firstly, I think it's a very emotional case also to us as the South African Police Service. But from the explanation, it's coming out clear the case became cold. Then what we are going to do from here, we're going to ask for the particulars of the caller. We are going to send the cold case unit. They are going to take that case immediately and will make sure that he receives justice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll definitely hold you to that, National Commissioner, and I'm just so glad that at least as our platform, we are making a difference in this very important issue. We are discussing the issue of gender-based violence here, and the poll question that we're asking you is government failing to address this particular issue that we are discussing tonight? You are watching Expressions. Make sure to call us. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. You are still watching Expressions, your number one youth current affairs show. Tonight, we are discussing a burning issue. We are discussing the issue of gender-based violence. And the poll question that we're asking you is simply this: is the government failing to address the issue of gender-based violence? Now, we have the government tonight here to engage us. So I think this is a fair question, and I think it's also fair as well for them to be able to answer that. But I think before we get into just the discussion that we're having today, we've got Uvuyo from the Free State, and he's got a question. Vuyo, please go ahead. Hello, Vuyo.
My question is, hi, how are you?
Yes, good, Vuyo. Please go ahead with your question.
Okay, my question is very simple. I would like to know why is the government protecting criminals more than victims?
Okay, short and succinct.
Because, you know, it is very painful to know that someone can kill your sister and come back to the community and you have nothing to do about it, because once you take law into your hands, you are the wrong one. You're going to jail for years.
Yeah. Deputy Minister, you heard the question from Uvuyo. And you can see it's a balance around constitutionality, right? You are innocent until proven guilty. So how do we create a balance with that, especially when we have the scourge of gender-based violence?
It's true that there is a perception that government protect criminals than victims. But we want to assure viewers that this administration led by President Ramaphosa have put to the forefront the issue of ensuring that victims get priority and criminals get what they deserve, which is punishment and to be sentenced to jail and to serve time there, because even our parole system allows people to go to jail and they serve for a particular period of time and they are out through paroles. That process is under review, and that certain categories of people living currently who have committed crime, like just before lockdown, there was an issue of people who were supposed to be released from prison. And it was very clear that those who are perpetrators of gender-based violence and serious crime, they should not be taken out, because that is not in the interest of justice. Yes, you have a constitutional right as outlined in the Constitution, but that does not give you a ticket to can terrorize people, to kill, and tomorrow you are out.
Yeah, so without even cutting you short, I'm pretty sure a lot of the viewers who are watching right now are asking themselves, you know, the practicality, because it's great. It's great that we can bring you on this platform. It's great that, you know, people can engage you. But the real life on the ground reality is that South Africans don't feel safe. They don't feel safe. So I just want to find out from you, National Commissioner Sithole, to say, you know, we had one of our audience members speaking about the fact that, you know, if she goes to the police station right now, which is the first point of contact, you know, they'll ask her questions about her victimization. So I want to find out from you, what are you doing in terms of training the police, in terms of ensuring that this first point of contact is keeping the public safe, is keeping women safe, is keeping young people safe?
Okay, I think firstly, apart from the training, because we're continuously doing training and development research so that we look at new training curriculums. Apart from that, we're also enforcing the value system of the organization which is led by a code of conduct. But finally, I also wanted to say this publicly in response. For police to drive the public away from the police station or ask questions that are funny is a serious misconduct. And the members of the public, if they come to a police station, they are so confronted, they must report this. We've got our numbers from the station commander, all the ranks, up to my level, because the community phones me. We're going to take action. Those members do not belong to the service. Thank you.
Can we have those numbers, National Commissioner? What numbers are those, so that the viewers who are watching Expressions right now can actually know it, because you clearly have an open door policy?
I think we have the whole contingency of the police that is here. We can provide the numbers of the command structure so that the public can communicate with us. And at all other imbizos, it is our standing instruction together with the minister that from station commander, detective commander, and everyone, classed up to provincial commissioner, we provide our numbers to the communities so that they are able to report.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mko, I'm gonna really throw this to you. I mean, I'm sure for a lot of South Africans watching the show, talk is cheap, right? When people are dying, when young women are dying on the ground. I just want to find out from you, from our audience, as we close the show, you know, what is the way forward? What can we do? What can the public do to be part of the solution?
Thank you for that, Jackie. And as we continue, you know, to use the backdrop of accountability, no one is above the law. Ma'am, as sort of a parenting body on SABC, what's your take on this conversation we're having? Quickly, please.
Thank you very much. I'm from the Civilian Secretariat for Police Service. We are established by Section 208 of the Constitution. Our core function is to do oversight over the South African Police Service. And I'd like to invite our survivors in Bonzo and any other survivor that we have a complaints desk. We do monitor and evaluation of police performance, police conduct. So contact us. We, the Civilian Secretariat, we have our website. We have provincial departments of community safety in the provinces that you reside in. So you can even contact our provincial department complaints desk as well. Our core, one of the functions we do is to monitor compliance of SABC on the Domestic Violence Act. So it's something that we could be able to assist with.
All right.
Well.
Okay. All right. We'll be, of course, giving those numbers on the screen. Ma'am, before you say talking shop is not enough, something needs to be done. Please, quickly.
Good evening. My name is Tandim Kized, Acting President of South African Policing Union. Minister, National Commissioner, SABC Management present here. I would like to request that we engage at the police portfolio committee and come up with strategies that can be able to address these issues. As we strongly believe that the time for talk shows is over, we need action, not yesterday, not tomorrow. We need it now.
We need action. Siswami, please come through. Let me give you a chance as well. Just a quick one. We almost out of time. Go ahead.
Good evening. I am Mohsen, the head of communications at Not In My Name. So actually, we've changed. It's Not In My Name International now. National Divisional Commissioner, you might remember me from Bloemfontein. I was a content specialist at the SABC Project Harmony launch. I'm going to speak about what I spoke when I got there. I see you trying to divert attention from internal matters of the SABC, saying that away from training, there are other things. And Mama Lene spoke about training and that it's actually being done, but it's not. Minister Bheki Cele reported that 69% of detectives did not go for domestic violence training. 72% of visible policing also did not go. That means that SABC is not compliant with the Domestic Violence Act. It might explain why everybody is crying about the same thing here. Secondly, just now during lockdown, there were 5,082 cases that were reported. 3,373 of them resulted in arrests, with only 204 convictions. Now, is this a matter of attending training, which you didn't, or is there something else? Because another police officer was reported having raped and killed the wife. And so what is the response from IPID regarding that? So why are you not attending training, and what is the response from IPID regarding the SABC member who killed his wife? Thank you.
Straight to the panel, Jackie, for a response there quickly.
Absolutely, and I'm not going to waste any time. Deputy Minister, can you please address that particular issue that was raised?
Thank you. The issue of a police officer who killed the wife, which need iPad, we have the director, the new executive director of iPad. Maybe she can quickly talk to that, just next to you there.
All right, sure.
Thank you very much. Let me indicate that I would want to look into the matter because I was not ready for this discussion, but I think I will take it further and make sure that we look at all those challenges. But let me also indicate to the House that SIPID, in Independent Police Investigation Directorate, were also responsible for playing an oversight role over the police. So if there are complaints in relation to crime that has been committed and police officers have not played their part, we are there, we are open at any given time. I've been going around doing roadshows in media where I've been talking about this particular instance, where you have rape, where you have a death in custody, where there are pointing of firearms. I'm saying to people, come through, we are here, we are ready to serve, and we'll consistently communicate with you as the public, because this is the approach that we want to take. We are saying we are going to go out as a responsive government. We must make sure that we deal with these matters at hand. So if people have cases and genuine cases, I was listening to one of your complainant, and we are ready at any given time. If there are challenges, we just want to look at what has happened and how did we deal with it. Fortunately, for whatever we do, we're in consultation with the National Commissioner, and this is how we are looking into cases. Thank you.
Are we out of time indeed? Sure. We have to thank you so much there. And thank you so much for participating in this all-important discussion. This has been another installment of Expressions, a special one right here on the SABC News channel, DSTV 4, channel 404. We thank you so much for your participation on all of our social media platforms. Now, Jackie, of course, it's time for us as young people to own the struggle against gender-based violence. If it's not happening in your circle, own it on the basis of principle. Thank you so much for watching. Jackie, over to you. It's time to say goodbye.
Absolutely, absolutely. And unfortunately, we have run out of time, and we just want to say to young people out there, please rise up, speak up, do not remain silent. And I think we just want to obviously thank the Deputy Minister Khaliso Matale, as well as the National Commission, at least the National Commissioner Ukehla Sithole, for being part of the show and being able to answer the burning issues around this issue of gender-based violence. Thank you so much for engaging with us and engaging with young people. Thank you so much for watching Expressions. We will be seeing you next time. Goodbye.